First of all, I'd suggest you get the chocolate melting, okay? So to do that, let me hold this up. I have got what is called a bain-marie, so it'd be very clear. So the chocolate, which is the only chocolate actually that was in the ingredients, was 250 grams of chocolate. So literally, if you just see that, it's literally just in chunks. You can break it up some more if you feel the need to. But what I've got then is a saucepan. If you look there, it's got, I don't know, an eighth, quarter of water. What is important with what's known as a bain-marie, which is Mary's bath, is that the bottom of the bowl doesn't touch the water because it can burn the bottom. The other option, I never just turn mine on. So what will happen is, just to let you know, you're going to put it on the heat. The steam that is created will melt the chocolate. Right, as simple as, hello Gemma. All right, so we have I'm conscious the camera's not the best angle, so I'll hold it up for 1 second. So I have a saucepan. In the bottom of the saucepan, there is some just plain cold water out the tap. Not much, it covers the bottom. You don't want it to boil dry, but you don't want it to touch the bottom of the bowl. So therefore you might need either a bigger bowl or a smaller saucepan, if that makes sense. How much chocolate? The chocolate is 250 grams. Okay, 250 grams of chocolate. That goes in. The other option, pardon me, is if you have a microwave, you can put it in a bowl and microwave it, but please listen to this, you want to do it in 10-second bursts. If you just chuck it in and walk off for 2 minutes, it will burn and then the chocolate's ruined. You just can't use it. All right, so microwave works. Mine's in the other room, so I'm not going to go backwards and forwards to the other room. I'm doing it this way, okay? Can you give you 30 seconds to sort that, whatever you're going to do. Okay, and then I'm going to start doing the sauce, the caramel sauce, because we need that to be cold before we put it on top of the cheesecake. All right. So, saucepan, a little bit of water, not much, quarter, eighth, fifth, whatever percentage you like, but not much, a little bit in the bottom. Bowl on top, the chocolate goes in the bowl. Be mindful, you don't want any water in the chocolate at all, because again, that makes it go odd. It doesn't work. All right, so all we're just doing is melting the chocolate. Hello, my wife has joined. Hello, wife. Give you a wave. There we go. Got special. All right, so that's chocolate. We can just leave that. You might need to give it an occasional prod with a spoon, but you can let that do its thing. When the water starts boiling, it will create some steam. Don't worry about that. That's normal. We're now going to make the caramel sauce. All right, we're going to do two things at the same time. In a saucepan, you have got 250 grams of white sugar. 250 grams of white sugar. What I'm now going to do, got my voice went there, that's not good, is it? I'm now going to add, let me get my scales. I'm going to add 75 milliliters of cold water. All right, so I'm melting the chocolate. That's sorting itself out, that's fine. In a second saucepan, all right, this is quite bowly and saucepan-y, if that's a word. In my saucepan, I've got 250 grams of white sugar, just plain white sugar. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in 75 milliliters. Just going to change the unit. 75 milliliters of cold water. Now 75 mils, a tablespoon is 15 mils. All right, so it's very roughly 4.5 tablespoons of water. Right, that goes in there. What I'm now going to do is put this on the heat. I will put the camera down in this, when it starts to do what it's meant to do, I will actually take the camera off the stand and show you really clearly, all right, because this is, I want to say it's difficult making caramel, but it can go wrong, all right, so can I say, so you can stir the chocolate, do not stir the caramel, okay, do stir the chocolate, do not stir the caramel. How much water? It's 75 milliliters of water, all right, 75 milliliters. Nothing's in the bowl, so in the saucepan, we have 250 grams of white sugar, and we've also got 75 milliliters of just plain cold water. That then goes on the heat. Let me just move the camera down, or my phone down, not a camera. Wish it was a camera. There we go. For the sugar, Keris, you actually just want to turn it on medium. I guess you don't want it to burn. I will bring it up in a second because I can't see what you're saying. Yeah, okay, so the caramel you want medium to high. I've actually got mine on number 5. If I just quickly take the bowl off, you can see that as my water's boiling, I can hear it. Be really careful, steam is one of the worst burns you can do. So we've got 2 things going on here. So we're melting our chocolate. Alright, so occasionally give that a little prod to make sure it's not sticking. And in here I've got my 250 grams of sugar and my 75 milliliters of water. Okay, medium to high heat, because what we're going to do is we're going to make this into caramel. And like I say, I will change the camera angle a bit closer when it's all kind of happening. Okay, see the stain? Just be careful of that, alright? Nothing's going to happen in mine, like a plonker, I turn the wrong one on. Never mind. Okay, are we all good? We don't want to rush this because there is no rush particularly. If it's boiling like mental at this, and it's obviously spraying everywhere, which it can do, turn it down. Alright, but you do want the water actually simmering a little bit. Otherwise not much is really, nothing's really going to happen. So. Okay, so I'll just turn that down a little bit, avoid it spitting. Is everyone okay? If you need a reminder, so 250 of chocolate we're melting, that's fine. We've got our 250 grams, so actually the same quantity as apples, as 250 of chocolate, 250 of white sugar with 75 mils of water, and we're just going to bring that to a boil, and as it starts heating up it will form a caramel. At that point we add other stuff to it and then it becomes a caramel sauce, right? So this is what I'm making here with the caramel sauce. If you're standing around not doing much at this point, you can if you want to, you don't have to, but you can if you want to, if you've got enough hands, and this is what cooking is about, is doing multiple things at the same time, is crush the biscuits. So that is, I'll say this again in a minute, don't panic, but we've got 300 grams of digestives. I've actually put mine in a sandwich bag. If you've got a food processor, you can just literally chuck them in a food processor and whiz them until they're biscuits. If you haven't got a food processor and you've got, just like made literally biscuits in a bag, this is about 3/4 of a regular bag of digestives. Put them in a bag, get a rolling pin or a saucepan, and because this is going to be the base, we want a crumb. Alright, so if you're standing around not doing much, you can do that. My bag has a hole in it, so I'm going to get another one now. Do make sure you give your chocolate the occasional prod so that the bottom part's not getting too melted. Is everyone okay? Is there any issues at the moment? 5 eggs is fine? The sugar's boiling. Okay, Keris, right, I don't know why your sugar's boiling so quick. If your sugar's boiling, what you're looking for it to do, it's annoying mine isn't, so I need it to hurry up slightly. Once it's boiled, you're looking for it to go to a kind of a medium brown colour. Alright, a medium brown colour. As soon as it's medium brown colour, just take it off. Okay, just take it off. Right, so the chocolate's nearly done. Well done, very good. I will move the camera back in a minute. I'll just make sure that the caramel is the, I say important bit, there's a bit that can go wrong quite easily. So, once your chocolate's melted and it's all a liquid, there might be a little lump in the bottom, just take it off and leave it to the side, alright? You've got nothing else to do. You can be doing the biscuits at the same time if you want to. If you're not, if you're happy just doing one thing at a time, that's fine. When I make the biscuits, you've got to do the biscuits quite fine because it means that when you take a portion out, the cheesecake will kind of hold, you know, the base will hold together. Okay, so I'll leave that to the side for 1 sec. My chocolate's done, it's all melted. A little lump there, but that should... So, for the time being, just take this off. We can worry about that later. Right, are we all good? Chocolate's done, take it off. Perfect. Right, so what I'm going to do, can't really zoom in, but I'm just going to show you this quickly. So we're not doing anything else. Just going to watch this. So while that's happening, what we're going to do is once this goes to a caramel, we are going to add some cream, some butter, 60 grams of butter in fact. A little bit of vanilla, a little pinch of salt. If you want salted caramel, you may not. I'm not sure. Can I just pre-warn you, this will take the skin off you. Alright, so don't touch it, don't, you know, keep well away where possible. Okay. So we need 200 mils of cream. One of these pots is 300, but we need 200. Yeah, 300, we need 200. And we need 60 grams of butter as well. And we need a little bit of vanilla, just a teaspoon, and a bit of salt. We can't do anything yet. So what we're looking for, if you can see, this is just boiling at the minute, that's fine. And we want it to go down, we want it to boil till it starts to caramelise, so it goes a darker colour. All right, this will be quicker for some of you than others. Be patient, it will happen. If your chocolate's done, take it off the heat. Leave it on the heat, take it off the heat, otherwise it will burn. If you're able to crush your biscuits in preparation for in a little bit, then that's great. So it's 300 grams of biscuits. It's about 2/3 of a packet of regular digestives, and either crush them in the bag or stick them in the food processor if you happen to have one. Again, mine's got a little heart, which is a bit annoying. Keep your eye on the caramel, because it will all of a sudden change colour. The caramel will be, how much double cream in the sauce, but not yet, will be 200 milliliters. Okay? Can I just say, don't worry too much about measuring the cream. Alright, that's what I was going to say. If you know, for example, if you've got one of these pots, you know it's 300 mils, and you know that 200 mils is going to be roughly 2/3. Okay, if you've got a large pot like this, which is 600 mils, so therefore you're going to know that you're only going, you're going to use like the top third, if that kind of makes sense. Alright, so quantities are important sometimes. Right, keep an eye on the caramel. Mine is nearly. Mine's on the turn. See, this is fairly complex as you see, but that's not a bad thing. The last one. With the caramel, what will happen is it will start to boil, it will go thicker. It will look to go thicker, and then you'll see there'll be a colour change, all right? And we're going for not a deep brown, not a dark brown, because it tastes bitter. You're going for like a mahogany brown, all right? So we'll show you in a second when it happens. All right, so reminder just quickly, melted our chocolate, put our sugar in the saucepan, 250 grams, 75 mils of water on the heat, it's bubbling away. I've got ready the cream, my butter, pinch of salt, bit of vanilla, and that's going to make the caramel sauce that will go on the top later. Right. There we go. If we look at mine just 1 second, now the camera's at a slightly peculiar angle. So the butter is 60 grams. Right, so if you can see, if you want to have a look just for a second, I'm conscious you might be doing like 20 things at this point, I'll get that. Warning, this will bubble, but it's fine. Can you now see, look at mine, can you now see how it's starting to change colour? Do you see that in the pan? It's starting to go brown. I'm going to give it a little whiz around. I want it slightly darker. Let me show YouTube as well, if you can see that. Right, mahogany brown. Bit further, bit further. This is, again, this will take the skin off you, so please be awfully careful. So, not really curious, to be honest. In this sauce, we aren't worried about at the moment. We've got 250 grams of white sugar, and we've got 75 milliliters of water, and we boiled it until it has gone a mahogany colour. Can we see that? At this point, please just watch if you're not doing anything else. This will bubble, be careful. 200 mils of cream. This is 300. I'm going to put in 2/3. It will sizzle. That's fine. It looks worrying, it's fine. We then put in 60 grams of butter in, and with a whisk, we're going to mix. And it will bubble, and you need to be ultra careful. Whisk, whisk, whisk. And all we're going to do is we whisk it together until the butter melts. That's the only point. All right, we're going to bring the camera up in a second so you can see a bit wider what's happening. Yes, boo. Okay, we then put in, just quickly, a teaspoon of vanilla. If you want salted caramel, you add a little bit of salt, a teaspoon of salt. If you don't want salted caramel, you don't. I do. Pinch of salt, just for the salted caramel element. One final stir, and you take it off. That's all the heat now, other than melting the butter in a second, that's all the heat. Now, can I say again, that is volcanic. That will burn the skin off you. Leave it to the side and allow it to cool down. Sorry, made a caramel sauce, add our chocolate, melt our chocolate, and we have the base for our cheesecake. Just quickly then, regarding tins, I think I said on the post earlier, helpfully, I left my tin at home, but never mind. But I've got one of these from school. This is fine, it's all the same really. You want it decently deep. The other option, and certainly if any catering students are watching this, you could always do it in like an individual glass. Obviously you need more than one, you need multiple, probably 4, well, probably 6 I'd have thought for this quantity. But there's no reason you can do it straight in the glass rather than do a big one and serve it. Obviously that's your deal completely. I'm going to use this. So for the biscuit base, apologies, I'm conscious it's very saucepan-y. We need to melt 150 grams of butter. All right, now just quickly, again, I know I have said before that baking, you've got to be accurate, but often if you look at this packet of butter I got, or have, if you open up the flap, there's a little 50 grams there. See that? Whoops, 50 grams. and 50 grams, and 50 grams. So I then know that that is 150 grams. Okay? I might measure it. You could measure it, absolutely. I mean, don't, you know, if you're happier to measure it, that's fine. If you don't happen to have a measure, I can't be fussed. 150 grams. You could also, of course, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my chocolate bowl off, get rid of this water, and then use that saucepan to melt the butter, all right? That's probably not a bad idea, if I say so myself. So back on the heat, 150 grams of butter. Keris, either. The fridge is fine. Yeah, you put it in the fridge, or on the, either actually, on the side or on the fridge. Doesn't matter. If it's like tomorrow, you're going to eat the sauce or have the sauce, put it in the fridge. If it's like later tonight, then leave it on the side. Okay. So we're going to melt the butter. Biscuits, crushed, 300 grams, about 2/3 of a packet. Make sure they're all crushed. Just going to put those in the bowl. Boof. Have a little check. What you can do, actually, what I get sometimes students to do, but they do it too hard often, is use the end of a rolling pin in a bowl. Yeah, because sometimes you tip it out and you missed a bit, you know, a little bit of biscuits hiding in the corner. It does matter, actually. You don't really want big chunks of biscuit because, like I say, when you take a slice out, a big chunk of biscuit can stop it coming out nice and neatly. With the butter, you don't have to melt it in the saucepan, you can melt it in the microwave. That's easy. If you've got a microwave in the kitchen, stick it in a bowl or a large cup or a measuring jug and microwave it just so it's melted. Just when it's melted, no more. You don't want to not cooking it, you're just melting it. Right, all good? All right, so we're all nice and melted. That goes in the biscuit base. Clatter. And we give it a nice stir around. We want to try and coat to give it a real good stir, actually, because you want that butter to coat all the way around. All we're then going to do is my tin, chuck, no particular finesse, chuck it in. What is fairly important, certainly if you want to serve nice kind of clean slices of this, is you want to push it down really as hard as you can, okay? So initially with a spoon, there's nothing wrong with getting the hands in. Just palm with your hands, push. All right, this is a no-bake cheesecake. So sometimes some recipes you actually bake the base. This is a non-bake cheesecake. Okay. So let's carry on with the filling then. I'll do this really slowly. In a bowl, I know it's another bowl. You need 500 grams of mascarpone, which is a soft Italian cheese, or I did put cream cheese, soft cheese, which is like Philadelphia. Okay, you want 500 grams in these pots. These pots are 200 grams each, so therefore I will need 2.5 pots of Philadelphia or cream cheese or mascarpone. Very similar. Mascarpone has actually got much higher fat than cream cheese, but the outcome will be basically identical. So 200, and this is another 200, but I'm going to only add half because we want 500 grams of either cream cheese or mascarpone or a mixture. You know, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so that's that. We all good? Right, we're then going to add 100 grams of icing sugar. I have my icing sugar actually weighed out already, but 100 grams of icing sugar in there. Bit more vanilla, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, but I'm going to stop there for 1 second, alright? So 1 teaspoon, I won't use all that, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So that's 500 grams of mascarpone or cream cheese or Philadelphia, which is more or less the same thing. 100 grams of icing sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Is everyone okay? Whisk it or mix it. This is literally just combining it, nothing more than that. There we go. Easy. Everyone alright? Wicked. At this point, you now get your melted chocolate because should have cooled down slightly. I'll wait a sec. I see someone saying something. You're weighing the sugar? No problem. I'll hang on, that's fine. So 500 of mascarpone or cream cheese, 100 grams of icing sugar, that goes in, waz it in. Splash of vanilla, teaspoon of vanilla. At that point, have our chocolate, and the chocolate goes into the cream cheese mixture. Just pour it straight in. If you have, which I have, hang on, one of these rubber scrapers, I think I've said it before, but they're great because you can get all around the corners and what have you. So the chocolate goes in, like that. And we just mix. It's yellow. What do you mean it's yellow? What do you mean it's yellow? Do you mean it's yellow as in yellow before you put the butter and the... So you mean it's yellow after you put the butter and the cream in? You might not quite cooked it enough, to be honest. If it's like yellow rather than... So let me show me mine again. Pardon me. You want sort of a deep caramel colour, a deep amber colour. If it's too yellow, it means you put everything in too early. So what I would do is put it back on the heat and just allow it to simmer a bit, and that will caramelise it a bit more because it would actually give you a darker, a better flavour. Okay? Is that all right? So put it back on the heat, allow it to just caramelise slightly. Right, so we've got, just a quick recap, 500 grams of icing sugar, 500 grams of cream cheese or mascarpone, pardon me, 100 grams of icing sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I've put in the melted milk chocolate and it should look like that. At this point, we're now going to add 300 mils of double cream as a liquid, which is a bit odd. So normally, what would happen is we'd whisk the cream up and put the cream in as well. What we're going to do is put the cream in as a liquid and then whisk the mixture until it's thickened up. So that's why you may need an electric whisk if you have one. If you haven't got one, you're going to need a little bit of arm muscle. All right, so get the muscles and Brussels out, okay? So 300 mils of double cream. In my pot here, I've got 600, so therefore I know it's half of that. If you've got one of these pots, these are 300 anyway, so you put the whole pot in. All right, so let me put that over there. 300 mils of double cream as a liquid, splosh. There we go. Let's just move these over here. So we're going to mix this initially in. Don't try and whisk it yet. Just give it a little mix in first so it's combined. And then at that point, you're going to give it some welly and give it a really good whisk together. Because what you're going to kind of do is whisk the cream in the mixture, if that kind of makes sense. So, just by the way, if you've got one of these whisks and you're doing it this way, don't just stir because that does absolutely nothing. You want to lift it. See that? Lift it. Lift, 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 lift. If you have an electric whisk, bung it in until it's all nice and thick. Hope you appreciate the sound as well. Hopefully you can't see my face, I'm going red, but that's all right. Tin, cream, or chocolate cream, or chocolate filling, or whatever you call it really. A on to B. Okay, so, straight on. Slop, slop, slop. Look at that, amazing. I say so myself, which I just did. Oops, some left there. Spread it out. Do try and have it even. Right, I'm going to show you in a second how to kind of finish it off, being mindful that you may not choose to finish yours off until quite a bit later, until even tomorrow. All right, because in a perfect world, this should set before you put the topping on. Okay, so there's mine. 150 mils for the decoration, 150 mils of cream, which is kind of what I've got left really. You don't want much cream. Just so you know, the function of the cream is to do little blobs to actually stick the caramel eggs on, all right? I'm gonna whisk up the cream. Hi, Saran. Hope you're all right. I'm doing this by hand. I don't know why I'm doing it by hand. I feel mental. I've got 30 food whisks in the cupboard, but there we go. Right, now, if you don't have a piping bag, which I didn't say to get, because I assume most people wouldn't have a piping bag, don't worry about it. So you can use a piping bag for this, but to be honest, I don't think it makes that much difference actually. Any questions? How much cream? Oh, sorry, Carrie, so 150 mils of cream, if you want to be specific about it. When you're whisking cream, it's quite difficult to know when you want it, so I'm not sure you can see here. My cream is whisked, if I do it at this angle, my cream is nearly there. At that point, I stop. See where it holds its shape? If I do any more than that, it will taste buttery because the proteins in the, or the fat molecules rather, in the cream sort of join together and gives a buttery taste. All right. Boiled. I'll just get my cream eggs out of the fridge or my caramel eggs out of the fridge. Right, when you're trying to cut, here's my caramel eggs, whoop. When you're cutting your caramel eggs, do leave them in the fridge until the last minute, all right? Because I think you'll find these are a slight pain to cut. Right, let me move it this way a bit so you can see. It might break. Okay, so what I've done is let me show you quickly. When you, obviously the eggs are made in a factory, and you see that, there is actually a line where it's joined. Now actually if you cut down that line, you're more likely to cut it in a nice half rather than it breaking and splintering. Can I say again, you might choose to do this either later today or even tomorrow. You can do it now, but it is designed for that to set in the fridge and then you do the decoration later. All right, and it's designed for that. But bear with. Just let you know, if you looked online, the Jane's patisserie recipe actually says to put some caramel buttons actually in the mixture. I'll be honest, I thought that was just too much and just too sweet. He says, as he's cutting up 110 caramel eggs. But you know what I mean. And certainly when you're slicing into it, it'll be a pain because you'll try and cut through like Cadbury's caramel button and it won't cut properly because you've got that in the way. Right. Here we go, cheesecake. So, here's the cheesecake. What we're going to do is this, dead simple. What have I got? I can't even count now. I had 6, I've got 12. So I need 12 blobs of cream on here. If you've got a piping bag, I have got a piping bag, but I assume you may not do, so I didn't actually worry about saying about a piping bag. 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay, so I'm just work. So we want blobs of cream. Now these are going to be like the cement. You'll see what I mean in a jiff. 3, 6, 9, 12. Right, so I can't do maths. It's terrible, isn't it? squeeze that in. I mean, obviously, around, like I should have had, which I forgot, a round tin is better because you can do it round like a clock. Yeah, that's probably going to make more sense. But all you then do, let's get that out of the way. He says, licking his fingers. Camera legs, boom. Try and put them in the same direction. It just looks better. Oh, crumbs. Quite fiddly. Look at that, man. Good Lord. Heart attack on a plate, amazing. So, with the caramel sauce, you got kind of two options really. Let me get another spoon, because we can do a bit of a drizzle thing. As I said, I did say this at some point, I think on the Instagram post, that you've made more caramel sauce than you need. But if you're going to cut a nice portion, it's nice to drizzle some over. Soraya, if only I know when you're going to do cooking again. Unfortunately, I don't know the answer. As you can see, when it goes a bit thicker, it would go much nicer, much saucier. All we're going to do, drizzle over as much as you want to, and that will set, as it sets, that will set as well. Right, can I just also stress, just remember, if you're going to do it properly, and you're going to let the cheesecake set and then decorate it later, what I would do, let's clear that up, what I would do is actually take the cheesecake out of the tin, if you can, if you've got a round tin, put it on a nice plate, decorate it and drizzle it, and it will look nice running down the sides. And what we then got is some nice caramel sauce to serve with it. Absolutely amazing with ice cream. It will be the best caramel sauce you've ever had, trust me.